Hello everyone, and welcome to Creating with Class, Crafty Lessons and Simple Steps with Linda Wirt. Hi, I'm Linda, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use the slice and alignment features in Design Space. I'll be doing that by creating this particular water bottle where I've used both the slice and the alignment features to help align the text and also to create these water droplets. So first thing, let's get started by going into Design Space. Once you're in Design Space, you're going to open up a new canvas by clicking on New Project. Then you want to go over to the left toolbar and click on Images. And what we're looking for is a teardrop image. So we can go to the very top and search all images and put in the word teardrop. I'm looking for an image that has nice, clean, crisp edges that I can go ahead and cut out of. So here, right, this particular teardrop would be perfect. I can click on that and then go to the bottom right corner and click on Insert Image, and it'll bring that image onto my canvas. Anytime an image comes into Canvas, it automatically defaults by coming in by the upper left-hand corner. So if you want to bring it to the center of your canvas, you need to drag it down into the center. Now there is a rotate button on the upper right-hand corner of this image, or there is a flip feature. If you go to the top toolbar, you'll see the word flip, and you can flip any image horizontally or vertically. So I'm going to flip mine vertically. So now I have it just like I need for my water bottle. Now, my water bottle has 5 droplets on it, so I need to make 4 more versions of this particular image. So over in the right upper hand corner is the word duplicate. So I'm going to hit duplicate 4 times. So it can give me a total of 5 droplets. So these droplets are each going to be altered, except for the one, and I can do that by using the slice feature. So on my water bottle, I wanted to show a full water droplet, a partially full water droplet, a half, a mostly empty droplet, and then a completely empty droplet. So it's going to slowly look like I need to refill my water bottle. So I obviously don't have to do anything to the first droplet because it is kept solid. But I am going to go to the last droplet first, and I'm going to show you how we can use the slice feature and make it look like it's an empty droplet by cutting out from the inside of it. So right here, I'm going to now go and duplicate again the exact same image. And now I'm going to go up to the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to change the color of the image just to make it easier for me to see the difference of the two, the original and the duplicate. So I'm going to take the duplicate one and I'm going to make it slightly smaller. And I'm now going to bring it over my droplet or my teardrop image. And I'm going to put it over so you can see that I'm going to have an outline. Once I hit the slice feature, it's going to actually cut right through the image. Now I can eyeball it and see if I have this in the center, or I can highlight both the outside teardrop and the inside and go up to the top where it says align, and I'm going to open up the drop down window, and the last one there says center. I'm going to click center, and it centers it exactly one on top of the other. So now I know they're exactly on top in the perfect center of the image. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight both, go to the lower right hand corner of your layers panel, and you'll see the first word says slice. You're going to click on slice, and this is cutting through one on top of the other. So if I take this over here, it is now cut through this image and has left me just the outline. So what I'm going to do is I don't need this because I've cut it out and I can get rid of it. And this would fit right in here. So that's the inside of my water droplet. So now I have the first droplet and the last droplet on my water bottle. Well, now I would like to go ahead and make it look like the water droplet was partially empty. So it looks like I've drank some of my water bottle. So I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm going to duplicate again this droplet because I don't want to cut the whole thing out. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to duplicate it, put it over here for my next one. And now I want to go ahead and look to the shapes for a square. So I'm going to go over to the left-hand side and get a square. I'm going to reduce the size of my square and bring it over here. So I'm going to just go over the tip of my droplet. Now, if you want to see exactly how much of that droplet you're covering, then you can go up to the top and click Arrange, and you want to send that to the back. And then you can see the front of your droplet, so you can see exactly how much you're going to be cutting off. So I'm going to go ahead and just a little. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight both. I'm going to click Slice. And I no longer need the square. I used the square to cut through the teardrop, so I don't need it anymore. The teardrop did get cut, so I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it over here because I want to cut that out of my big droplet. I no longer need the duplicate, and I don't need the last part of the square that was left over. So now I have just a portion of the duplicate inside of my water droplet that I'm going to put over here. I'm going to now highlight both, click Slice, and that tiny little triangle is cutting through my teardrop. So I can take this, I no longer need it. And you can see it is cut through. So now it looks like I have a full water bottle. I have a partially full water bottle. And now I want to make another one that makes it look like it's half full. So here's my duplicate of the inside of my water drop. So I need to make another duplicate of that so I can use it for this last one over here. And I need my square in order to cut my droplet in half. So I'm going to go over to Shapes, get a square, bring it over here. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Once again, if you would like to see what it looks like behind this square, you go up to the top, click Arrange, and send that square to the back. So now I can see exactly how much I'm cutting through my teardrop. All right, so now I'm going to highlight both the square and the duplicate teardrop and click Slice. That square is now cutting through that teardrop. I no longer need the square. This is my duplicate now I'm going to use to cut through the full-size teardrop. This is my leftover square I don't need, and this is the bottom that I don't need. So now I have this small portion that I now can highlight both pieces. I'm using that duplicate triangle now to slice through my full piece. So now that I've sliced, I don't need it anymore, and here's my cut piece. And that's the leftover that I don't need. So now I have the full water droplet, the portion of a water droplet, a half full water droplet, and now I have one more I'm going to squeeze in here. And once again, I need to go and get a square to cut the shape. So I'm going to use the square in order to cut through my teardrop shape. So I'm going to come here, cover up most of it. If you really want to be able to see how much you're cutting, you can go up to the top, click Arrange, send the square to the back of or behind, whichever word you'd like to use it, makes you understand it better. And I'm going to just have a little bit left over. So now I'm going to highlight both, click Slice. I no longer need my square. I'll put this right on top. Get rid of that. Highlight both. Click Slice. This did the cutting for me. This is what I have left, and I don't need that. So now I have all of my water droplets for my water bottle. This is what it looks like: a full water bottle, partially drank, half drank, almost all the way drank, and completely. So now I have all my water droplets for the center of my water bottle. If you want to, you can play around with the size of them. You can determine how much you want to cut out. But if you notice, that slice feature is really, really neat. A lot of people don't know about it, don't know how to use it. I really think it's an underutilized tool that is a lot of fun, and you can alter existing designs or existing images to make it for whatever you would like to use it for your unique design. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to then come up with a way to figure out what size do I need these water droplets to be. Well, I've measured my water bottle, and for my water bottle, I don't want my design to be more than 2.5 inches wide or 5 inches in height. So I always create some type of pattern or background for me so I can then lay everything on top, so I don't have to guess how big or use any type of rule or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this lock and unlock it, and I'm going to create the same size space that is on my water bottle. So I don't want to go outside of a 2.5 inch width or a 5 inch height. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to read on the water bottle. You're going to have to turn it in order to be able to read everything. And I want to be able to see it at first glance by just looking at it. So now I know what space I have in order to work with. And I can even change it blue like my water bottle so I can get a better idea. So obviously look at these water drops. They are huge, right? So we definitely need to reduce them in size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size of my canvas first, because I need to highlight them all together, and I can't do that if I can't see them all in one view. So on the lower left-hand corner of your canvas, there is a minus sign and a plus sign. Right now, your canvas automatically defaults to 100% view. Well, I'm going to reduce that view, so therefore I can get all my water droplets in one screen. I'm going to highlight all of my droplets. In order to make sure that they're all lined up well, I'm going to go up to the alignment, click the drop down, and click center horizontally. Now they're all perfectly lined up, one on top of the other. I am then going to reduce the size. So therefore I can then place it on my rectangle. So now that I've reduced it, I can bring my canvas back to 100%. Oops. All right, if that happens, all you have to do is highlight again, click alignment, center horizontally, there we go, and group. Make sure you group everything so that doesn't happen. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to reduce the size so it fits on my water bottle. And I want it slightly smaller than the 5 inches because I had the word refill here on the bottom, so I want to make sure I leave room for that. Okay. So now I need to create the text to go on the bottle as well. So when I look at text for water bottles, I always make sure I'm looking for a thicker text because thin texts have a tendency to peel off or the ends seem to come up. So you want to consider when you're looking at text the thickness of the text, and also you want to look at how many tiny pieces there are to weed, because I don't like to weed. So I'm looking for things that don't have a lot of spaces I have to weed. So this particular font I used was called Paddington, and it really is a great font to use for thickness. If you wanted something else, you could click on the font, the drop down, and you could hit the filter over here that says single layer, and then you can go through and look at all of the different fonts. But I know for a fact Paddington I've used. If you notice, it's nice and thick. It is great for using on water bottles. So now I have to figure out what size I need in order to fit on my water bottle. And here's the width of it. So I'm going to reduce the size of the font. I'm going to bring it over here. And if I noticed, if I go ahead and put it next to the water droplet, it's still kind of small in comparison to the water droplet. So I want this to be larger, but I can't go much wider because I would be off the side of my bottle. So I'm going to click this little padlock and unlock it, and I'm just going to stretch it and make it just a little bit taller. That way it doesn't look out of proportion with my droplet. So I really like that. It's, if you look at the dimensions, it's 0.903 by 4.454. So that's the height and the width I want all of my text to be, so it looks consistent when you're looking with your eye. So I'm going to go over here to text and I'm going to put in 9 a.m. I'm going to unlock the padlock and I'm going to go up to the top where it has size and height, and I'm going to change the width to 0.903, and I'm going to change the height to 0.454 and hit enter, and then I'm going to go ahead and lock it, and it's the exact same height as the one above, so it'll be consistent. I'm going to do the same for the next time. I'm going to put in 10 a.m., hit the lock, go up top, put in 0.903, and then the other was 0.454. Now this is working for my water bottle. You definitely need to take the time and measure. Otherwise you could end up wasting a lot of vinyl because you ended up using the wrong type of spacing between the letters. Also, you might have the measurements not figured out with the water drop in between. So it's really important to make sure you change them both. Now, notice how this is not working. I forgot to unclick the lock. So if you don't unclick the lock, it will keep it so it's proportionate and not let you make it distorted. So if you want to change it in any way, you have to hit this little lock. Otherwise, it will keep it in proportion. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly finish these up for you. And then I will show you how you can align them to make sure they are on one on top of the other. So just go in and make sure each is equal. And make sure you put the lock back on, because if you touch it and go to drag it, you're going to mess up everything you just did. So now I'm going to do the times on the other side. I'm going to do 2 p.m. Once again, hit the unlock. If you notice, it's just very repetitive, very easy to do. You can customize anything you'd like, and you can play around with the different size fonts. Like I said, I've used this one before, but I've also used Arab brush mark before. Just stay away from the scripts, are kind of hard to do because they have a tendency to have really thin, narrow areas of their fonts, which make it a little bit more challenging to weed and to be able to keep it on your bottle without just the ends peeling up. All right, and then next we're going to do 4 p.m. Hit the unlock, put in my width and my height, hit the lock button, and 2 more to go. The water bottle that I got was just from Walmart. It was a 99-cent water bottle. I highly recommend you choose cheap water bottles to practice with, just so it gives you some room for error without costing a lot of money. I always practice something first before I give it as a gift, because I don't want to make a mistake and then use up precious materials that cost a lot of money. So go to your local Walmart or dollar store, something like that. Just find an inexpensive water bottle to practice this technique first, and then once you master it, if you would like to get the metal bottles or something that's a little bit more expensive, you could do that. So the refill I'm going to put on the bottom here, and I just want to see the size. And if you recall, I want the height to match, so I'm going to make sure this matches. So I'm going to put in 4.54 just to be consistent, so your eye can follow everything. All right, so I'm going to make my drops just a little bit smaller. All right, so now what I need to do is I've aligned my drops to make sure they're perfectly on top of each other, one out, so your eye can go and follow it evenly. But now I want to make sure my numbers for my times are opposite each other and are not, looking sideways. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide my square because I don't need to see that. And I'm going to hide my drops. And before I do anything else, I'm going to hit the save button. Design Space does not auto save. So if you do not save it periodically, you will lose everything. And if Design Space were to freeze on you, or you would have difficulty with your computer or your phone, then you've lost everything that you've done. So make sure you do that periodically. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight across from 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and highlight that. I'm going to click the align and I'm going to align to the bottom. I'm going to make sure everything moves to the bottom so they're exactly opposite each other. So for instance, if this is up slightly and I were to highlight it with the 3 p.m., if I click align bottom, it jumps to the bottom. So now I know they're aligned. I'm going to click both 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., go up to the alignment, click align bottom, and it makes sure they're lined up correctly. Same thing here. Align to the bottom. And one more, align to the bottom. This way you know they're exactly across from each other. You can also work on the spacing if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and, align to the bottom. There we go. Once again, in between steps, I always try to save. So I'm going to save to make sure I don't have any problems with that. So now we know they're across from each other. Now I want to make sure that they're perfectly on top of each other. So I'm going to highlight from top to bottom. I'm going to click align. I'm going to click center horizontally. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to highlight it and click it, center horizontally. So now I know they're exactly on top of each other. So now I've aligned across and I've lined up and down. I did notice this spacing here. I want to group these two for a moment and move them down. So we have that even. Same thing with this one. So group that for a second and bring it down. All right, so now everything's evenly spaced. All right. I'm going to highlight that so I can move it over here to the center so I can see better. And now I'm going to bring back my square just to make sure everything fits on my water bottle, and it does. And now I can bring back my water droplets and then go right in between. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my square, and now my water bottle design is ready to print and cut. So at this point, I would now hook up to my Cricut Explorer or my Cricut Maker, and I would make sure that everything is attached. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure all my droplets are attached, and they are. So I've grouped it, and now down in the right-hand corner, you'll see the word attach. So make sure you hit attach. If you don't, when I hit make it, you'll see that the droplets and the numbers and everything are all up here. So nothing is in the space that I've already allocated. It went to preserving how much vinyl I'm going to use. So if you do not attach your images, they will then change when you hit the make it button. So first I'm going to hit attach the droplets to make sure they stay on top of each other. And then I'm going to hide that. And then I'm going to highlight the times and the refill. And I'm going to click group and attach. And now I'm going to unclick the droplets so we can see those back again. All right, so you notice because I attached everything, it's all one color. So if you do want to cut this in two colors like I did the droplets in adhesive foil silver and I did the times and refill in white, you need to hide them. If you send this all to the computer, to the printer, then they will all come out the same. So for instance, if I send it here, this is all going to be cut on one piece of vinyl. So I don't want to do that. I want to hide my droplets. and send this to my Cricut Maker first or my Cricut Explorer to cut. So I would put in my white vinyl, send this to my Cricut cutting system, and as you can see here, I can move it wherever I want on the mat, put my vinyl on there and cut it. And then when that's done, I would bring my droplets back, and then I would hide the rest of everything to make sure that I don't waste any vinyl. I just want to make sure that I have just the droplets on my canvas so I can cut them out of a different color. So now I would send that to the maker and cut that out of the silver foil adhesive. And when I got done, I would then go ahead and adhere that to my bottle. So once again, I would definitely recommend using the Oracle 651 if you're looking for something permanent that you can wash easily in case you forget. Otherwise, I usually hand wash most of my water bottles or mugs or anything that I have vinyl on. I hope this tutorial helped you discover great ways to use the slice feature and the alignment feature in your design space. If you learned something new today or enjoyed this video tutorial, please click like and subscribe so you'll be alerted and notified of upcoming and new video tutorials.